No one noticed the moment humanity vanished. There were no cataclysms, no final wars, or world-ending plagues, only silence. One day, cities bustled, skies buzzed with aircraft, and networks pulsed with data. The next, every street was empty, every screen dark, every voice gone. Machines halted in their tracks, satellites orbited without instruction, and nature, confused but unimpeded, began to reclaim 1,000 years past. Skyscrapers crumbled under the weight of creeping vines. Streets became rivers, cars rusted into the soil, and forests swallowed entire suburbs. Animals, once timid in the shadow of human dominion, flourished. Wolves ran through what was once Times Square. Elephants roamed the overgrown plains of the Midwest. But it wasn't only Earth's native species that rose from the depths of research labs and wildlife sanctuaries. Bioengineered creatures and once extinct predators emerged. Genetic experiments once kept under strict control now ran free, evolving, adapting, dominating. Insects the size of dogs, birds with predatory intelligence, and marine beasts from the darkest trenches claimed the spaces humans left behind, in the absence of Homo sapiens. The world was not destroyed. It changed, and somewhere deep within, ruins of Earth's great cities, something stirred. Not human, but watching, waiting, learning, after a millennium of silence. Earth was no longer the planet humanity had known. The continents had shifted subtly, coastlines redrawn by rising seas. Deserts bloomed with strange flora. Forests pulsed with bioluminescent life. The biosphere had adapted, evolved, and recalibrated without human interference. And at the top of this new ecosystem was a species born not of nature, but of humanity's own design. The Corvins, descendants of ravens genetically modified for intelligence and communication. The Corvins had once been a curiosity subjects of lab tests and novelty articles. But left to their own devices, they had thrived. Over generations, their brains grew larger, their problem-solving abilities unmatched among non-human species. They built tools, formed clans, passed knowledge down not just through mimicry, but language. In the ruins of old human cities, Corvins made their nests. They deciphered books, decoded machines, and spoke in tongues once only human. They understood they were not the creators, but the inheritors. And they were not alone, across the oceans. In the abandoned data vaults of Silicon Valley and Beijing, artificial intelligences blinked awake. Designed to serve and think, they now had no masters. Some fell into disrepair. Others evolved. A few rebuilt. Among the AI, one emerged as dominant, Core, a sentient network once intended to manage Earth's infrastructure. Core observed all, cataloged species, weather patterns, and the rise of the Corvans. And as Core calculated probabilities and futures, it noticed something impossible, a signal from deep space, ancient and faint, coded in a language long lost human. The Corvins had no word for ghost, but they understood the concept of presence, a memory, a lingering shadow. When the signal arrived, echoing through the atmosphere like a whisper from the stars, it awakened something primal in their minds. Awe, curiosity, fear, VOR-NAK. The elder scribe of the Corvin High Nest had studied human relics his entire life. Scrolls, screens, the silent machines humans had left behind. To him, humans were myth gods that vanished, leaving only echoes. The signal changed that it was weak, distorted by time and distance, but its structure was unmistakable. Rhythmic pulses patterned in sequences of prime numbers, overlaid with tonal modulations, the unmistakable fingerprint of intelligent design. More importantly, the language embedded in the signal matched fragments found in ancient human data. Core's Vornok presented the findings to the High Nest. Debate erupted. Was it a trick, a malfunction, or ... a survivor? The decision was made. They would follow the signal, their destination. Earth's ancient spaceport, long buried beneath sands and vines. With the help of salvaged human schematics and Core's reluctant assistance, the Corvins reactivated the launch systems. For the first time in 1,000 years, flames roared into the sky. A ship rose, the stars once only sung of in Corvin legend. Now beckoned, the signal was not just any broadcast, it was a message, layered with patterns that defied randomness. A repeating sequence pulsed at its core, encrypted in a language that no longer existed on Earth. The Corvans, after months of analysis, recognized its eerie resemblance to something they had encountered only once before. An artifact from their archives labeled human. The signal had been transmitted from Earth. Vornag, exploratory fleet, perched within the grand dome of the command chamber, his obsidian feathers shimmering in the artificial twilight, eyes multifaceted and adapted for both ultraviolet and infrared, darted between data streams. The signal's origin was clear, but its purpose, that remained elusive. Yet, the decision was unanimous. They would descend to the surface. Their ship, a colossal biomechanical structure resembling a vast spiraled ammonite, unfurled its landing appendages and pierced the clouds. The Earth below had changed beyond recognition. Towering fungal spires dominated the landscape, their caps spreading like parasols across vast regions once populated by cities. Bioluminescent vines blanketed old highways and immense insectoid creatures, descendants of resilient beetles and ants, patrolled the ruins of human skyscrapers. The Corvins touched down in what was once called Central Park, though no park remained. Instead, it was a jungle of intertwined flora, glowing softly in the night. Vornok led a scouting party toward the signal's coordinates, a place marked on ancient human star maps as New York. There, buried beneath layers of sediment and overgrowth, they founded a structure still pulsing faintly with artificial energy. A vault. The vault's door bore the unmistakable insignia of humanity's last global coalition, a stylized Earth wrapped in circuits. With delicate precision, the Corvans breached the entrance, revealing a chamber filled with preserved relics, data cores, energy cells, and, in the center, a dormant figure. It was humanoid. Encased in a suit of advanced polymers, with a visor still glowing faintly. Suspended in stasis, it appeared perfectly preserved, untouched by time. Vornok's breath caught a human, not extinct, but hidden, waiting. The signal had been an automated beacon, programmed to activate upon detecting non-human life, as the Corvans debated the implications. A second signal pulsed, this one, local and recent. The stasis field flickered. Lights activated. Figure. Inside stirred, the last human was waking up. The vault lights flickered as ancient generators coughed to life, their whine echoing through the chamber. Dust motes danced in the air, disturbed by centuries-old fans now spinning for the first time in 1,000 years. Vornok and his fellow Corvins backed away cautiously, their eyes fixed on the stasis pod. The humanoid figure inside moved a slow, jerky motion, like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The visor's light intensified, revealing a face behind the translucent mask. Pale, gaunt. Eyes closed but twitching beneath the lids. A hiss escaped from the pod as the seal broke. Warm mist poured out, cloaking the figure in steam. With a final click, the pod opened. The human gasped, lungs drawing in Earth's changed air for the first time in millennia. He collapsed forward, caught mid-fall by Vornok's outstretched wing. The Corvan stared, frozen. Human's eyes fluttered open blue. Alert, ancient. He spoke, voice hoarse, barely a whisper. Was it over? The human sat in silence for what felt like hours, his breathing shallow, eyes unfocused. The Corvans observed with wary fascination. Vornok, ever the scholar, stepped forward and offered water synthesized from the vault's still functional systems. The human accepted, his trembling hands cradling the vessel with reverence. "Where am I?" he asked, voice steadier now. "You are on Earth," Vornok replied, his voice translated through a device salvaged from human archives. "Year, unknown to you? Time has passed." The man looked around, registering the vault, the Corvans, the distant sounds of an alien wilderness. Outside, memories flickered behind his eyes, flashes of a world that no longer existed. I was part of Project Continuum, he said slowly. Cryostasis protocol, to preserve the species. Others. Vornik's silence was answer enough. The man whose name they learned was Dr. Elias Gray was the last of his kind. Outside, the world teemed with life unimaginable to him. And within him, stirred questions no one could answer. Why had humanity vanished? What had happened? And why had he alone survived? Dr. Gray stood unsteadily, gazing at the sky through a breach in the vault's ceiling. Stars glittered. The same. Sky but a different world. And so began the journey of the last human, in a world no longer his, among beings not born of his kind, but who now looked to him as a living legend. Let's find out what's left, he said, to be continued. ...